If I appear out of breath, it's because I literally ran upstairs for no reason. I have no rush to film this video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zhariya Smith, and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. So if you guys happen to like that, or you just love my gorgeous and messed up makeup, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell to get notified every single time I post, which happens to be on Mondays and on Fridays. And yeah, how are we doing? Leave a comment down below on how you're doing. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the American dream and about, how do I say this? The American dream is dead. In fact, it never existed in the first place. And you might be saying, wow, that's pretty aggressive. Like, I read The Great Gatsby freshman year, but we're going to get into it. Either way, so you might be also asking, what is the American dream? And the American dream is honestly like a set of ideals of freedom that is given to young American children, people who want to immigrate to America, etc., with some sort of preconceived notion that being in America is so great. They say America includes opportunity, prosperity, success, wealth, and as long as you work hard, you can be Jeff Bezos. And I have some news for you. You're probably not going to be Jeff Bezos. And that's not me dragging you as an individual. That's me saying that logistically, how America is set up, you are probably not going to be Jeff Bezos. Take that how you will. We'll get into it. Either way, ideas of the American dream are ingrained into movies, success stories. It is reinforced because of capitalism in the US. People like to make money off of giving some idea to people to give them motive to keep on working, to make people at the top a lot of money, but you make the exact same amount, which is whack. But they say that if you work hard enough, then you are going to be a millionaire. And honestly, 65.9% of Americans make below $100,000 a year. And you might be saying, wow, $100,000 is a lot of money. $100,000 is not a lot of money to people who, if, for instance, you in a 4-person family and live in New York City, that's not enough money to live. So that's like a general thing of America is the 65.9%. So don't drag me if you're like, well, I live in the middle of Dakota and I make $65,000 a year and everything in my family, like, we're rich. I don't care. I'm not that I don't care, but I'm saying this is, different. And think about this. 10.3% of Americans make more than $200,000 a year, which in my opinion, as a person who's in the middle class, is not considered as, oh my gosh, you're filthy rich. Because if you literally have like a mortgage on like an expensive house in an expensive neighborhood and pay for your expensive kids' school and pay for their extracurriculars, you pay for their college, that doesn't make a lot of money when you think about it. Either way, but let's talk about the American dream in media. So as we know, the American dream is very, very inflated. We don't like to admit it, but movies are a huge propaganda when it comes to delivering messages to the American people. And the modern American wealth structure so perpetuates, racial inequalities, class inequalities between generations that make it very difficult for you person watching this video, to be wealthy in the top 1% that people, dream about. Everyone wants to be Jordan Belfort, but no one wants to go to jail. That was a horrible joke. But either way, there are many books who talk about, the falseness of the American dream and about how the American dream is not a realistic, thing to like aspire. But books like this are Babbitt by Sinclair Lewis, obviously The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. We have Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, and we have, of course, Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. Many, many more things ridiculing the American dream, capitalism, and everything in between. But even though many books reference the American dream being horrible, being not real in any manner, a lot of these books are not being provided to people who are in the lower class areas that would benefit, if that makes sense. People who are being fed this dream of, if you work hard enough, then you're going to make enough money and you're going to be rich. Those are the people that they're trying to sell that idea to. So they're obviously not going to provide their schools with adequate books, adequate learning. It's all a conspiracy. Not really. I probably shouldn't get into conspiracy theories, but you know what I mean? Either way, let's talk about class inequality and why it's going to be even harder for you to, I'm going to ingrain this into you, not to like make you feel bad about yourself, but more so to give yourself realistic expectations. And obviously this is just the generalness. I'm not saying specifically you as a person. I'm just saying this is the general thing. Regardless, let's talk about class. So the majority of Americans are not already upper class, as I mentioned before. And many people also in middle class who are considered to be like in middle class areas, like I'm currently in a middle class neighborhood, suburbia, if you will, where houses are generally more expensive. I don't know how to say that, without sounding like, you know what I mean. But lower class families who, let's say, live in a 3-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, maybe even 1-bedroom apartment, what resources do they get? We find, and in this book that I read when I was taking my marriage and the family class in college, it's actually an interesting class. If you have that offered at your college, I recommend taking it. But we found out that lower class families cannot really send their kids off to go to extracurricular activities. They can't join clubs. They can't join, sports because that costs money that they don't necessarily have, So what we find is that they send their children outside to play with their cousins, friends, whatever the case may be, because that is something that's inexpensive and still gives them social development. However, middle class families, they promote what's called concerted cultivation. And that means you're encouraging your kids, like, do extracurriculars, take those AP classes, do all this stuff because they have the money to be able to support their kid doing multiple sports and taking multiple different clubs and all of the things in between, But in reality, which honestly sucks, is that if you're more likely to stay in the same class that your parents are than you are to make more than that, So take that with information what you will, But usually a child's, as they say, ticket out of poverty is going to college. Well, how are they going to go to college if schools that they have access to are not of high quality? They can't afford to do sports, and just so many more roadblocks in their way, they end up being stuck or not being able to go to college in the first place. But then there is this thing that, I can make a whole video about it, but specifically minorities, like then young black kids get exploited up the wazoo for doing college sports. And I can make a whole video about that. But they typically end up being exploited by, college athletics. Not to drag any specific college, I don't want smoke, as they like to say. So it's very hard. There are so many disadvantages that come to lower class people that make it very difficult for them to even get the resources to become rich in the first place, And then there's also something called race inequality, as we all know. If you're a minority, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not a minority, you might be like, that's not real, according to some government officials. Speaking of whack government officials, go vote. If you want to vote your mail-in ballot, turn it in literally today. Like as I'm doing this, literally as this video goes up, go do your mail-in ballot. It takes 14 days for it to be able to go through circulation and for your vote to count. Or go early voting, which, in Florida starts today, Friday. So do that. This is your reminder. And if you don't, I will fight you. I can see who watches this video. That's actually a lie. It's not true. But yeah, please go vote. But often in childhood, what I've found and what this study found is that black children who are in lower class families don't try to relate to black kids in middle class families. Which is kind of like unfair because it's like you can't control how much your parents make in a way. But regardless, it creates animosity. It creates divides, and we don't need divides for something you literally can't control. But as we know, children who are, white or white passing, as I like to say, because some people like to be like, oh, well, try to drag me in the comments. Don't do that. I'm sensitive, as we all know at this point. But when you are white or white passing, you get certain advantages in life that you might not even realize. You know, like for instance, my name is Zhariya. If I wanted to apply for a job, they might look at my name and be like, she sounds ghetto. And then they'll literally not even look at my application and find out that I have my associate's degree and I have multiple job experiences and all that stuff. They might not even care because they're like, oh, well, this girl named Hannah seems like not to drag any person named Hannah, but I'm saying like any like white person, like white sounding name, they'll hire them, you know. Also in pop cultures, we see stuff like, you know, The Great Gatsby, Wolf of Wall Street, all containing Leonardo DiCaprio. Just thought about that. Or we see even like Iron Man, rest in peace, I guess. But we see these people in high class and you notice how none of them are black or Hispanic, even in Asian, except for Crazy Rich Asians. And there's a reason why. It's because it's very difficult for people who are minorities to have that sort of advantage, which is why in minority families we find people who can like afford, like middle class minority families, push their kids to do so many things because they want their kids to be able to have the resources to become rich, you know. But because of this, minorities are dealt a hand already in the beginning, before literally by looking the way they do, they're already dealt in a disadvantage. Then if you include the fact that they are below the poverty line, that makes it even worse, you know. So then to give the idea to these people who, because of the system of America, they really can't advance unless they worked 24 hours a day, and even then like still struggle to afford things, it's kind of ridiculous. But since, you know, I don't want the people to get angry at me, but let's talk about millionaires. So 20% of millionaires inherited their money. That's, you know, less than half, definitely. And 1% of millionaires are under the age of 35. And, you know, this idea of glamorizing, like, oh, like you're rich and you're doing all this stuff, those people are typically young in the movies. Definitely under 35, so it's already giving you a false narrative. Now, there are many YouTubers who are literally 15 who are millionaires, but that's an anomaly. It's not me, definitely. And the average age of a millionaire is 62, because a lot of people become millionaires because of their retirement money, honestly. And 38% of millionaires is 65 and older. That means the bulk of millionaires are, you know, in that little mid-range, if that makes sense. And I understand, you know, being a millionaire is hard. You have to work for your things. Like, it's not by any means, like, negative. But, like, just put that into perspective. Like, a lot of people who become millionaires, they do work very hard for what they achieved. But, like, those things that they might be like, oh, like, you can, like, you know, start a business and you can start making money. Like, those ads on YouTube that are literally such scams, like 90% of them. It gives you this false idea that you're going to have a Lamborghini and multiple models around you after drop shipping for 2 weeks. You know, it doesn't work right with me. But now let's talk about billionaires. This is the Bezos of the world, the ones we like to talk about on Twitter and harass for reasonable stuff. But according to the billionaire census, it says that self-made billionaires make up about $5 trillion. And there is exactly, well, you know, it fluctuates, but when this was done, it said that there were 2,604 billionaires in the world. And 55.8% of them were self-made, which is amazing, honestly, thinking about it. But then it thinks about what is the definition of self-made. Because you can be self-made with a loan of $3 million. You know, so think about that. But another 30.9% of billionaires had some sort of assistance, some sort of wealth that was already there, you know. And then only 13.3% of billionaires inherited their wealth entirely. And I think that's a thing to know, because like Jeff Bezos did not inherit his entire wealth. Obviously, he owns Amazon. Elon Musk owns PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, so many things. But these people have like advantages. And I'm saying like the main point of American Dream is saying that you can be, I almost reference Hamilton, but you can be like an immigrant, come to America, and you can become Jeff Bezos. That is not true. At least with the system that is already in place, as we can see. There are success stories, there are obviously anomalies, but I'm saying for like the general population, statistically, you probably are not going to be Jeff Bezos, and that is okay. It is okay to not be extremely rich. As long as you're comfortable and happy, that's all that should matter, baby. I don't know why I just said baby. Guys, can you tell that like I'm tired? But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I want you guys to take away that like I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to say like, oh, everything you're working for is a lie. I don't think that at all. But I think that we have to understand that like not everyone's going to be a millionaire. Not everyone's going to be a billionaire. Not everyone's going to be a trillionaire. You know, it's just stuff like that. And those people that you're rich with the private jets, like half of them are fake. As you can see on Instagram, you can literally pay to go on the set for like $100 and pretend like you're in a private jet, which is literally so stupid. There are so many things, guys. So don't feed into this dream of, oh, I'm going to be extremely rich and extremely wealthy. Like, I want to be rich and wealthy, but am I going to be upset if I am only make $400,000 a year? No, you know? That's all I'm saying. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up because it really helps small channels like mine. Make sure to also subscribe because I really want to get to 600 by the end of October. That would be great. I like to get like 100 each month to feel like I'm somewhat growing. And yeah, so make sure to stay happy and stay healthy. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.